Hey everyone, Flufayy here. 6 months ago, I made a tier list on Hypixel minigames. The video was decently made, but I think it suffers from the fact that I made it only a few weeks after coming back to frequent uploading. Since then, I've broadened my horizons a bit and ended up expanding the kind of content on this channel. I started up an achievement hunting series, which forced me to play more games on the server than ever before, more frequently. Now I have a better idea of how I feel, even if some of my opinions may still not be the popular ones. So this is the tier list I made last time. You can watch that video if you want to see explanations for those opinions. I'll put that in the description. But this video will be organized by which games I'm moving up, which games I'm moving down, which games I'm not moving but have additional thoughts on, and covering the few games I neglected to mention last time. Let's start with the games I'm moving up. First of those is Turbo Kart Racers. I literally just made a video on this game, so I don't want to say too much here. But my last opinion wasn't even complete. I complained about how the game controlled and felt without really giving it a fair chance. When I gave it that shot, I'll admit that a lot of my previous concerns were vindicated, and I had more lag issues here than on any other game on the server. Yet, strangely, I had a lot more fun with it than I normally did. This game is more capable of giving me fun experiences than the other F-tier games, and is not something I'm unwilling to visit in the future. Still, I can't in good conscience put this above D. I feel like I was strangely harsh to Paintball Warfare in my previous tier list. I acted like the game was completely boring and it was rare to enjoy yourself here. I don't think that's true, and I don't even really know where that idea came from. I see Paintball as an average Hypixel game that you can get an enjoyable round or two of every now and then. It's satisfying to get cool snowball long shots and to use your kill coins for interesting rewards. It's not as much of a how fast can you click simulator as I thought it would be. I mean, you can still have good games even if you aren't the fastest clicker ever. Definitely a fun experience that has a higher ceiling of enjoyment than I gave it credit for. Weirdly enough, I'm actually moving up 3 games from the classic lobby. I like Vampire Z quite a bit. I find it to be the ultimate chill game on the server. It's one where I don't have to think too much and can just relax and either kill some zombies or kill some players, well, vampires. Objectively, this game isn't any better than a lot of the games below it, but it's my favorite game that requires little energy other than maybe Pixel Party in the arcade, but that requires a decent amount of thought in the later rounds. I've heard Vampire Z referred to as an AFK simulator, and I can see that. It's not as deep as some other game modes, and some maps are borderline guaranteed for survivors to win. It won't be for everybody, but sometimes you need a chill out game. And for me, Vampire Z fits that mold very well. I feel ranking the arcade lobby in general is pretty difficult, because there's so many games here that it makes me wonder what exactly I'm ranking. For the last 6 months though, some of my most enjoyable experiences on the server have been in this lobby. Also the time I got stung by a yellow jacket while playing Pixel Party, but that wasn't the game's fault. There are some weak games here, but I stick to the ones I enjoy, and there's plenty of those. Zombies is a lot of fun, Party Games is always a good and varied time, and the aforementioned Pixel Party is one of my favorite games to chill out to on the server. Even the games I don't play much, like Creeper Attack and Ender Spleef, have provided me some interesting experiences when I want to try something different. I feel like there's too much solid content in the arcade lobby for me to have it any lower than S at the moment, even if some of the games aren't very good. And then there's Skywars. This is the game that first got me into Hypixel and is the one I have the most experience with by far. It is my favorite game mode on the server, but I put it in A tier last time because of the general consensus opinion that Skywars has gone downhill and is in a bad state today. And I think that opinion is kinda correct. The game is not as good as it used to be for sure. However, since I came back to YouTube, I realized that a big part of the problem is how we play Skywars. The traditional gameplay style that I used to play with isn't really fun anymore, with how sweaty the game has gotten and how difficult it can be to play at a high level consistently. When I started making weekly videos again though, I also started having a lot more fun with the game again. Skywars is such a customizable experience. Instead of just saying, this is the most optimal way to play, so I'm gonna play that way, I've spent most of my time with Skywars being creative. I used Obama quotes as strategies in the video. I did the same with the Bible. I created the dumbest trap ever, and it ended up being one of my favorite videos of the year. I feel like there are more unique experiences I can get out of Skywars than any other game mode on the server, at least at a consistent level. There's going to be bad experiences with Skywars, but with it providing me a lot of my best content and experiences this year, I have to put it in S tier, even if the game may not objectively be at that level. Now let's talk about the games I'm lowering. I actually only want to put 2 of them down. We'll start with one I've technically lowered already, The Walls. I made a video on this a while ago, but it wasn't that good, and I doubt most of y'all even watched it. I think me putting The Walls walls in A tier is probably the worst opinion I had in my last video. From my experience, you can have some incredibly fun games with it, and it has a high ceiling of enjoyment. There's too many games though, where you get all the gear you need way before the walls fall down and you're just waiting there. And if you die soon after that, you just wasted like 10 minutes and however long you were waiting for the game to start. There's a lot of fun you can have here, but I put it at the same level as arcade games and Skywars, and those are definitively better games. I will stand by my opinion that of all the fully released Hypixel games, The Walls is the most underrated. I'd still say that. However, it's not A tier. It's definitely B. The other game I'm putting down is Bed Wars. I put it in S tier because I found it to be the most consistently enjoyable, combat-focused game on the server. And that might still be true, I have another contender for that, but we'll get there later. I realize though that an S tier game needs to be more than just consistently not bad. And that's kind of what I feel like Bed Wars has been for me in the past 6 months. I've had a couple really fun Bed Wars experiences since then. I did like a challenge wheel video, and that was a lot of fun to record, but it hasn't really provided S-tier experiences lately. Nor do I think it's the best game mode on the server, it just doesn't feel right to put a game like that so high up. Now let's do a quick rapid fire segment where I talk about games I'm not moving, but have things to comment on. Smash Heroes and Mega Walls are prime contenders for games that'll get moved if I ever make another update to this. I haven't played that much of them, but every time I do, I just don't feel motivated to continue. I'm not roped in by them. They've been kind of boring to me, but I'm sure I'll have a stronger opinion on them when I eventually force myself to cover them for my achievement hunting videos. I played my dislike of Arena Brawl off for cheap jokes last time, and I'm sorry about that. It was unfair, not a good critique. But I still don't think it's a game I can really get into. I mean, look, I didn't want to play this so badly that I'm recording the NPC instead of playing it. Lastly, I almost moved up TNT games, but I think that might be recency bias from having two pretty interesting recordings of Bow Spleef and TNT Tag in the past few weeks. That's another one to monitor as a game I could see myself moving later down the line. Now let's talk about the 3 games I didn't cover last time. Oh hey look, it's finally time for me to give my opinion on Skyblock. I neglected Skyblock because it was a prototype game that I felt like I shouldn't rank until it's fully out. Let's be real though, it's the biggest game on the server, it's existed for 4 years, there's more content to it than probably every other game on Hypixel, and people expect me to talk about it. Thing is though, I have a lot of trouble ranking Skyblock because of what it is. Skyblock is like a full game while everything else on the server is a mini game. You get what I mean? What it focuses on and how you progress is an entirely different dynamic. It's not something you can easily compare to something like paintball. Well, let's use that example. Obviously, if you look at them side by side, Skyblock has more content. With Skyblock though, you also have to look at how you access that content, whether or not there's an incentive to experience it, and just whether or not that's fun. You can have all the content in the world, but if I'd rather throw snowballs at people, then I'd still say paintball's better. It's just hard to look at it because of how many layers there are. If you enjoy the several layers to Skyblock, it's an S-tier game for you, undoubtedly. It provides so much for you to do and can keep you playing a long time. However, this game doesn't jive with me. I respect the game, but it's not something I've enjoyed. Yeah, I'm early game. I'll own that. But that doesn't mean I have to subject myself to dozens and dozens of hours of it. It's not my kind of game, and I don't care for the grindy aspects of it either. It's worth a shot, undoubtedly, and I have a ton of respect for it, but I can't put it in S tier because it's popular. I gotta be truthful, and while I know last time I got some criticism from Skyblock players in my comments where I did give my opinion, and this definitely won't help that, I've only enjoyed that as much as a C tier game. It's sometimes fun, sometimes I don't want to do the things I need to do to progress. If you like this genre of game, you'll put it much higher, but this is my list, and I want to stand in a corner in Vampire Z instead. Well, thank God we made it out of that. Let's talk about a game I've technically ranked before in the pit. This is the game I was talking about earlier as a PvP game mode that might be more consistently enjoyable than Bed Wars. I really enjoy the combat of this game mode, and honestly, it's kind of like the murder mystery of arena PvP to me. Just a chill experience where I can wander around, but it doesn't have to be. There's a lot of depth to it that you never even need to experience if you don't want to. I've never even prestiged in the game before, and I just enjoy wandering around, getting kills, sometimes teaming with people for fun. I have it in B right now, but I definitely think it has potential to go higher if I begin to enjoy the game even more as I get further into it. There is a progression, kind of like what we were talking about earlier with Skyblock, but they're different kinds of progressions. No matter what, there's always one thing you're doing in the pit, and that's PvPing in an arena. That part doesn't ever really change, and it still kind of feels like a mini game as opposed to a full game. I already made a video complaining about Wool Wars and also complained about it again in another video. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but it's a D tier minigame. Wool Wars is incredibly bare bones to me. You have one basic game mode with no alternate team size, no alternate modes, and they took it out of the prototype lobby with the bare minimum of changes, just achievements and cosmetics really. Then they fixed a couple bugs and left it to die. They didn't support it with any new content. Feels like Hypixel gave up on this mode and barely did anything to make it stand out from the source material the game mode is based on. There was potential here for a solid game mode, but there's more to the bridge, a mode in in duels. I may be a bit too harsh here. I think I state my opinion better in my actual Wool Wars video, but yeah, it's D tier. Now that's my final list. If you disagree, I'd appreciate it if you watched the section where I talked about the game first so you can understand where I'm coming from. I'm only saying that because I'm pretty sure people skipped to the end and then complained about things last time without ever hearing my reasoning, which I get, you know? It's something that's gonna happen with this kind of video. But it's always better when we hear each other out, you know? It's based on my own experiences, and they won't be the same as yours. It's all good though. I think this is a better list than last time. There's still a few takes that I know aren't super popular. Like, I know people are higher on Quakecraft than I am, and that's fair, I just can't enjoy it. But if you enjoy this, I got plenty of other commentaries and scripted content coming in the future of just about all the games in this video. So I'll catch you later, peace out, and take care everybody.